Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Get ready, because spoiler, showing up at Bold and Beautiful's Sheila/Deacon wedding will be a game changer. It was a wild week on Bold and Beautiful, not to mention on soap Twitter. There were some great lines, rushed plots and nonsensical developments. But what it wasn't was boring. So let's take a closer look at what went down, shall we? Come on, kids. Finn had to know that telling his wife Sheila was a hero would go down about as well as someone telling me that I could never board another cruise ship. I wanted Steffi's eyes to pop out of her head, cartoon style, at that, and they darn near did. I actually loved the writing for Steffi this week. She was having absolutely none of what her husband was trying to sell, and finally drew a line in the sand. It's her or me and the kids, she declared, and Finn wisely chose his wife, or at least gave lip service to having chosen them. Does anybody really think he's going to stay away from the woman, sorry biological mother, with whom he shares a deep connection? If so, I'd like to discuss with you a bridge, located in Brooklyn, which I am willing to sell you for a very, very low price. Serious inquiries only. I was also happy to hear several characters on the canvas point out what I've said from the start. Sheila is an unreliable narrator. We didn't actually see or hear her conversation with Sugar. We saw and heard a flashback of what Sheila was describing. That doesn't mean it's an actual reflection of what went down between them. In fact, I'm hoping it's a complete and total fabrication, and that there's more to that story. Quicker than you can say, birth mom, I was being called a lying liar who lies. And honestly, the folks who lobbed that particular accusation at me weren't wrong. While Finn may ultimately wind up putting a relationship with Sheila above his marriage to Steffi, I'm pretty sure even the most ardent of his fans will call him out for it. Most of them love Finn and Steffi. They don't just ship Finn, they ship the couple. I sent out a mea culpa via the tweet below. But, yeah, they were right to call me out. When I'm wrong, I own it. Usually. Continue to wonder what the point of the Zenda/Luna/RJ story is. This week, they rushed through an "is she or isn't she pregnant" scenario. Luna puked into a trash can, immediately asked herself, am I pregnant? As opposed to, gee, wonder if I caught something, or what the heck did I have for lunch? Whipped out a pregnancy test she'd apparently been toting around, and got the results. All in a single episode. Wait, that's not entirely true, because they used the test results as an episode-ending cliffhanger, which then extended into the first few minutes of the next day, which just made Poppy look bad for not immediately telling her daughter, nope, the test is negative. You can relax. Later, Poppy was taken to task by Brooke of all people. How could you be so reckless? She demanded of Poppy, because the show continues to act as if she is somehow responsible for what happened to Luna. We once again had someone accusing Poppy of drugging your own daughter. In what universe should Brooke, of all people, be bandying about accusations regarding people winding up in the wrong bed? I wish that someone would point that out, but of course, Brooke's history is never ever referred to in anything more than passing. Which becomes even more obvious when this week we also got scenes in which Carter, while advising Zen to stop lusting after a woman who is in a committed relationship, acknowledged that he'd been in a similar situation more than once. Why are we allowed to reference Carter's past mistakes, but never Brooke's? I mean, we literally had Brooke say to Zen, you betrayed my son, your own family, as if she hasn't slept her way through the Forrester family tree. Along those lines, you know who does remember the history of every character on the show? Fans in general and superfan Matt Hanvey in particular. He posted the hysterical video below which proves that point. And not for nothing. But I'd watch the hell out of his version of Bold and Beautiful. I mean, why not let soaps have some fun with the dialogue, right? Instead of the laughs being unintentional, embrace the fun. Coming up. In true Bold and Beautiful fashion, Sheila and Deacon will dash down the aisle next week with Tom, aka the homeless dude who helped them reunite, serving as the efficient, sorry Carter, but you've been replaced. This wedding also won't take place in the Forrester living room, but rather at Il Giardino, which also makes sense. Obviously, the real question is whether Finn will show up for his biological mother's ceremony. I'm willing to bet that he will and that he'll try keeping Steffi in the dark about it. I'm also betting Hope will show up to support her dad, furthering the notion that eventually, perhaps just in time for Thomas' inevitable return, she and Finn will be drawn together. Check out the newspaper below. Anybody else catch what may or may not be intentional references to both Back to the Future and Jurassic Park? I almost died when Ridge said of Finn, "Honestly, I don't care about his mommy issues." I have to assume this was a writer having fun with the borderline creepy relationship Ridge had with his own late mom, Stephanie. Less effective was Ridge asking Eric, "Does the name Janet Weber mean anything to you?" No, Ridge, why would it? Nobody had ever heard it until a writer inserted it into a script a few weeks ago. Now, had you asked if Eric knew the name Sugar, that would have made sense. Are Poppy and Bill still dating? Remember when they were hot and heavy before being shoved to the back burner, never to be mentioned again? I was happy to see Eric immediately pick up the phone and call Lauren Fenmore about Sheila's latest resurrection. Sadly, so far we haven't actually seen Lauren's reaction on Sisters Soapyoung and Restless. The sun hung low over the horizon, casting a warm golden glow across the manicured lawns of the Forrester estate. It was a day that shimmered with anticipation, the kind that sent ripples of excitement through the hearts of the guests gathered under the elegantly adorned wedding tent. Sheila Carter, resplendent in a gown that seemed spun from moonlight itself, stood at the altar beside Deacon Sharp, her eyes sparkling with a mix of nerves and joy. This was meant to be her moment of triumph, a new beginning filled with promises of redemption and love. Yet as the ceremony began, whispers fluttered through the crowd like a gathering storm. Rumors had been swirling for days, secrets whispered behind gloved hands, and exchanged in hushed tones. The arrival of a mysterious figure was imminent, a presence that threatened to unravel the carefully laid plans of Sheila and Deacon's union. In the midst of vows exchanged and promises made, the atmosphere crackled with tension. Brooke Logan, never one to miss an opportunity to stir the pot, watched from her seat with a mixture of curiosity and concern. She knew all too well the tumultuous history that Sheila brought with her, the echoes of past sins that seemed to follow her like shadows. Brooke's own history with both Sheila and Deacon added another layer of complexity to the gathering storm. Meanwhile, across the tent, Quinn Fuller Forrester stood with a conflicted expression. She had been a reluctant confidant, privy to secrets that threatened to tear apart friendships and alliances. Quinn had promised Ridge Forrester she would keep the peace, but as the minutes ticked by, her resolve wavered. The weight of knowledge pressed upon her, a burden that threatened to spill over and shatter the fragile peace. As the ceremony reached its crescendo, a figure appeared at the back of the tent, silhouetted against the fading light. Gasps rippled through the crowd as all eyes turned to the newcomer. Stepping forward with measured grace, Taylor Hayes emerged from the shadows, her presence commanding attention and igniting a storm of emotions. Taylor, clad in a simple yet elegant gown, carried herself with a quiet dignity that belied the tempest raging within. Her gaze locked onto Sheila, a mix of disbelief and resolve etched upon her features. For Taylor had returned not as an idle observer, but as a force of reckoning, a reminder of past betrayals and unhealed wounds. Sheila, caught off guard by Taylor's unexpected appearance, felt a chill snake down her spine. Memories long buried surged to the forefront of her mind, a reminder of the tangled web she had woven in the past. Deacon, sensing the shift in the atmosphere, glanced nervously between Sheila and Taylor, his own past entanglements with both women casting long shadows over his present.